Welcome to Herbie Town, Humboldt, Tennessee. What you'll be seeing here in this video is just a small fraction of what all is here. The intention was to stay for 1 hour, but ended up being here for 3 entertaining, educational, well worth it hours. So, if you ever plan on visiting here, be sure and block off at least 3 hours, and especially if you have children, who will love this place and will never forget the sights and experience. Herbie Town is named after longtime, well-known Western Tennessee builder Herbert Ralph Adams. He and his wife Marie had lived on this land for over 60 years. Herbert went home in March of 2019 at the age of 90, and Marie went home in December of 2020 at the age of 90. Nowadays, their son, Dave, and his wife, Marilyn, own and oversee and maintain this amazing, educational, off-the-beaten-path, must-see place that features replica buildings reminiscent of the 1800s Wild West, including the Wagon Wheel Hotel and Saloon, a church, stables, blacksmith shop, and over 20 other buildings. You step back in time the moment you drive up and park. You'll want to ask questions and take your time with Dave, your tour guide, as y'all wander around this history-filled, antique-laden, tiny town of Herbie. Population 2. You'll especially enjoy Dave's sense of a clean, sharp sense of humor. That large upright piece of rock between the flagpole and the air mailbox was moved here from a cliff overlooking a nearby creek that Herbie used to stand and sit on when he was a young boy. And Dave surprised his dad by having it brought here by his uncle and placed where you see it today. I put a pair of those pants on layaway. I couldn't resist the savings, and they look good in flip-flops. Herbie Town kind of reminds me of the movie sets I've been on at Bandit Town near North Fork, California, and Gene Autry's Melody Ranch in Newhall, California. Now, I do believe several scenes could be shot here, as it does make for a pretty good setting for an old Western movie. Going upstairs from the saloon is the hotel. Here are Dave's grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, and great-great-great-grandparents. And these are the 2 rooms of the Wagon Wheel Hotel, complete with an outside balcony. Herbie and Dave began building this place way back in 1984. They would spend their weekends putting everything you see here together. Now, when Herbert could no longer work on it, then Dave and Marilyn took over along with their 2 sons. Tragically, their youngest son died on the property when he was 27 years of age, about 8 years ago. And Marilyn can no longer help Dave as she hurts from a knee and back injury she suffered from as a result of being at the wrong place at the wrong time regarding a drive-by shooting 3 years ago when she was in Humboldt. Heading down is the saloon. As you'll notice, you'll see a lot of John Wayne around here. Herbie's unique sense of humor is manifested in the whimsical art he created with iron and horseshoes and wood and just about anything he could get his hands on to make you smile and long for the good old days. And Dave inherited his dad's sense of humor and creativity. This is the only product John Deere never stood behind. Yep, it's a manure spreader.
You can smell it!
Oh. Fabulous.
This house is well over 100 years old and was moved here from about 3 miles away when it was in the woods. It took them 1 full day to move it. Kind of reminds me of my dorm room back in Kansas.
Love that.
The barn is over 100 years old and was transported to this site board by board, along with the original tin roof, and carefully reassembled.
You can smell it.
Dave and Marilyn are very friendly and gracious hosts. They are a wealth of information regarding every single item you'll see here in Herbie Town, as well as what all has happened in this area going way back to the Civil War times. The Shetland is Cochise, and there's Little Bit and Welfare. Now, I didn't catch the name of that shy little Shetland that quickly disappeared behind his little stall door.
Hiya! Pizza!
This is the mercantile store, which is across from the church. Presently, the store is not functional, but it once was. I couldn't resist purchasing one of these, as I'll never know when it may come in handy.
Ow!
We'll now go inside the church from the back entry. That stained glass window is over 100 years old and came from Norton, Kansas as a gift. Herbert often did weddings from inside here, and Dave now does them. In fact, just a few days ago, Dave had done a wedding service. Those are the flowers left behind from it and donated to the chapel. The chapel seats 40. Herbert went on many volunteer mission assignments with his Baptist church here in the United States, Brazil, Upper Volta, Peru, Hungary, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and St. Martin Island. He was a part of the Tennessee Baptist Disaster Relief Teams. Back in the main courtyard, there's the Bank of Herbie.
Ooh.
And inside we see that John Wayne is guarding over millions of dollars of Confederate paper money. This cozy little cabin or bungalow was all hand-built from the ground up by Dave and Marie several years ago. It took them 1 month to complete. There is no electricity and no air conditioning, just like back in the good old days. Actually, this was more like my college dorm room back in Kansas. Yep, did most of my studying by candlelight in minus 20-degree weather.
Really?
Those steps lead up to an observation deck, and that tree is an Ohio buckeye, and I'd never seen one. Dave retrieved a buckeye which kind of looks like a chestnut. And no, I did not taste it, as they can cause vomiting and diarrhea when eaten raw.
Fabulous!
This is Dave's favorite place to go on a good weather night, to look up at the night sky and reflect upon the great old times he and his family has had here. There's very little light pollution out here in the country, so on a clear night, the stars are singing bright. And the last crop out there was a bountiful harvest of corn. If you want to find out a little bit more about Herbie Town, you can type it in your search engine bar and away you go. Well, y'all, that completes the tour. If you ever get the chance, please visit Herbie Town. You'll be glad you did. Oh, and just one more thing.